26 of my 50 days of harvest, so I'm now halfway through, and I'm thinking I might need to move my target again, because when I started out, I thought if I managed to do £5 of harvesting a day for 50 days, that would give me £250. But it became clear in a week that I'd be able to do more than that. And I'm now, well, I'm getting very close to the 500 mark, and it's only halfway. So I'm not going to push myself to go too high on this. So I'm going to aim for £750 of food in 50 days, which may or may not be doable, because you know what, I'm getting quite tired, and in particular I'm getting tired of chopping apples. Anyway, the news today is that we have 7 ducklings from our first hatch. There's still 1 egg in the incubator which has pipped, but I don't think it's going to do anything. Here they are. Now they look red because they're under a red lamp. But how cute are these? Little babies. Hello, little babies. Hello. The chickens, on the other hand, are just eating en masse. I've just thrown a bit of food on the floor for them so I could film the ducklings without them getting in the way. So this morning, before it started raining too much, I came outside to the area where the wood chippings all get dumped, and I started levelling them out a bit. So my plan here is to cover this area in wood chippings over time, and eventually we will be able to plant fruit, veg, whatever else we want to in here. But it starts with getting a covering on. So I had spread some out. Over here and along there, but as you can see, that's covered in weeds again, and I think that's going to be an ongoing battle. But over here, this is now about 10 inches deep, and underneath that apple tree, that's only about 6 inches deep, so I will be moving the rest of this pile here over that way, and hopefully that will cover that. It's very springy underfoot. It's really is like walking on a forest floor. It's fantastic. So my harvest to date, well, it's been very simple actually. It's been a bucket full of the Prince green beans, and they weighed in at £4, and it's got really mighty windy now. Maybe not as windy as other places in the world right at the moment, but it's still pretty windy for us. Look at the ducks. Yes, so I got those, and I gathered in some tomatoes from the greenhouse, so that was another £3 of tomatoes, and that's pretty much all I've done today, because I've been making up wine from the fruit that I've prepared previously, and so we've got some pink apple and plum wine on the go, and some more of the marrow and apple and ginger wine. I'm getting quite excited about that. It's it tastes amazing. It's not hugely marrowy or appley. It's almost got a pear quality to it. And then after you've swallowed, you get this kind of little kick of ginger, which is obviously only going to get stronger as time goes on. So I cleaned out the nursery pen for the ducklings, and I've added it at that end to this bed that had the borlotti beans in it. So that's the muckings out from the duck house, that's from the ducklings pen, and it won't take too long to fill both ends as well. One of the things I need to do tomorrow is to collect. Oh, come on, Monty, out of my way, darling. Is to collect the squashes. Well, this one particular squash. There's a squash in here. It's looking rather lovely. So that will be part of tomorrow's harvest. It's such a shame because this area with a squash in it really is starting to fill out now, but it's just so late in the year. There's probably only 6, maybe 7 more weeks of growing, and a lot can happen in that time, but it hasn't kind of been covered. I imagine these big leaves would completely cover this area by now. Maybe that was wishful thinking. That's okay, I don't mind wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is what makes things happen. Yes, thank you, White. Yes, wishful thinking is what makes things happen here. I think things and I plan them and I replan them. I've told you about this before, and eventually I come up with something that kind of works. And let's go and see what the ducks are doing. Well, I've just noticed that these birds here are the 4 youngest Jersey giants, and they've ventured into a new part of the field that they haven't been in before. So this is the bit where you usually see big white hanging around here, but the little ones have been staying in that area over there. And nice to see that they've ventured out. So this afternoon, Mr. J and I went up to my sister's home for a cuppa and a chat and a catch up, because we haven't seen each other for a few weeks, and that was really lovely. And I also took over lots of frozen beans and a piece of chicken and some courgettes and some apples and everything for their freezer, which has freed up a little bit of space in my freezer for the next lot of food to go into it. Over the next few days I want to work out a plan for making this area, which is the front of the palace, just a little bit more weatherproof. So it's got chicken wire on it at the moment, which makes it wild bird proof, and at the bottom there is some of this shading fabric, which is also a windbreak fabric. But the inside of the palace gets really wet. The prevailing wind blows straight into the palace here, which means all the rain goes in. Now this isn't just about having pampered chickens. The bedding on the floor there is getting really wet, and when it gets wet, it's gonna promote spores and mould and fungal activity, which is not going to be great for the chickens. So I'm going to look at putting some more windbreak fabric up here, which is not going to stop all of the rain getting in, but it will reduce it. It will reduce it a bit. And very kindly, my brother-in-law gave us some more windproof fabric yesterday, so we can actually now do that.